Quick note, there are affiliate links in the description of this video, which I am compensated for when you use those links. Today, we are talking about the best LLC services for a single member LLC. Now, chances are if you're setting up a single member LLC and it's your first one that you're a solopreneur, perhaps, maybe you already have an employee in mind, but most people watching this are going to be a solopreneur looking for that right LLC service for them. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through this LLC cost calculator that we've created for you that you can see on the screen right now. And the reason I want to go through this is A, I don't want you to overpay when you get set up with your LLC. B, I want to make sure that you understand where all of the fees start to stack up. And C, I want to make sure that you keep your LLC compliant. We're going to be able to explain all of that through this LLC cost calculator. Now, there is a link for this in the description below, but you can also go to Google and just Google BizBuddy LLC cost or go to bizbuddy.com/LLC cost. So I have the brands blurred out right now because I wanted to take you through this one by one and kind of explain why certain brands charge more for an LLC service. Now, what you'll see though is the basic package service fee is $0. So I chose the top 4 brands that all have a free basic package. So it literally costs you nothing to pay them money to set up your LLC, but you will have to pay the state that you form your LLC in. Now, you might be wondering, like, how do they get away with a $0 basic package? Well, there's going to be upsells and different things that come into the equation as we start moving forward, which will make sense in a minute. Now, the 5-year total cost, you'll notice a big gap from the cheapest service to the most expensive. So why don't we show you what the most expensive service is on our list here, and that's Taylor Brands. Now, the reason that they are so much more expensive is they have taken on a lot of venture debt. So venture capitalists have invested in them, and for them to return money to them, they have to charge more for various services throughout the process. The second most expensive service has also taken on a lot of venture debt, and that is LegalZoom. So if we're looking at the state of Alabama, $2,226. If I were to go to a different state, that number can go up dramatically because state fees are different in different states. California is very expensive when it comes to their annual renewal fees. So why don't we take a look at Arizona, much cheaper, but again, still, you're seeing a big difference in cost. So the second cheapest option on this list is Zen Business. But if you want to get a little bit cheaper than them, you go with Bizee by InkFile. Now, the reason I say by InkFile, it used to be called InkFile. They rebranded at the beginning of 2024, I believe, to Bizee. But they are the most cost-effective service. But let's dig a little further of where those numbers actually come in, because this calculator is going to tell us a story as we work through it. So the second block here is labeled state fees. So right now we're selected with Arizona. You can see the state filing fee is $85. There is no way around the state filing fee in whatever state you end up forming your LLC. You will pay that, but that state filing fee is included in the cost of this calculator. But then the important thing here is there's an annual and a biannual fee. And the interesting thing here is you see $0 under both categories. That's because Arizona does not charge or does not require you to renew your LLC. Now, most states do, and most states it's going to be a situation where it's an annual fee. So you have to renew your LLC every single year. This is so important. A different state, we're in Alabama right now. If we go to Alaska, now you see that it's $100 and it's biannual. So in Alaska, you have to renew every 2 years. So why do you need to renew? When you set up your LLC, it's a limited liability company. The easiest way to explain this is through an example. Like, let's say you're setting up a coffee shop. The LLC draws a division between your business and personal assets. So you have the coffee shop, you have the cash register, the cash in the register, maybe the tables, everything, all the assets that are in that business. Then there's your personal car, home, bank account. The LLC draws a division between the two. So if somebody were hurt in your coffee shop and they hire an attorney, they can only sue you for your business assets. Now that's if you have an LLC that is in good standing. If you do not, what's going to happen is a judge may side with the attorney suing you and allow them to pierce the corporate veil. So you can kind of think of that line between your business and personal assets that the LLC creates. That is the corporate veil. Now, if you have a crack in your LLC, it can be pierced. One of the ways that that can happen is if you do not renew your LLC with your state. So that is really important that you do that. So when you go to this and you select your state here, just look to see if you have an annual or biannual fee. And if you don't see either, it's most likely because it's not required in your state to renew. So I wanted to just cover that portion of it right there. Now, recurring fees on here, we have a few different ones. So the annual report filing, what that is the fee that these services charge to renew your LLC. So in this particular case, I think we're still on Florida. Yep, we have Florida up here. Florida charges $138.65 for their annual fee on the state level. And if you want to go with Bizee, they will actually file that annual report for you for $99. Taylor Brands, $199. So you don't have to go through these services to file that annual report, but it does make it clean and easy because everything can be managed inside of your dashboard. This one's really important. Registered agent. If you're not familiar, a registered agent is a third-party service that handles important documentation and communication, and they have to reside in the state of formation, and it cannot be a P.O. box address. So what they do is, like, if you're in that example of being sued, they are gonna make sure you're getting your service of process notice. So basically you have to show up to court. They're making sure you get those important documents, and they are third-party service. Now what you can see here, Taylor Brands, LegalZoom, and Zen Business, $199 a year every single year that you use their their registered agent service. For Bizee, it's $0 for the first year. They include it free for the first year, and then it's $119 annually after that. So that is where these fees are coming from, and they're adding up over here. So you can start to see how when you go with, a Taylor Brands, a LegalZoom, a Zen Business, a lot of these fees can start adding up if you're paying them every single year. Now let's look at the bottom here as well. Some other things to be aware of, which also help to inform you as you're setting up your LLC. This one, EIN. What is that? That's an employer identification number. You can think of it as like a social security number for your business. It's a way that the IRS identifies your business. If you're gonna run payroll and apply for loans and all sorts of different things, you're gonna need an EIN. You can set that up yourself, really easy to do. Actually, I'm just gonna search EIN IRS, and it's going to be the first organic thing that pops up here. So I will put this link in the description below if you want to do this yourself. But if you want to have these services set this up for you, these are the one-time costs of setting up that EIN if you're doing the base package with each of those services. Now, next day filing. That is interesting because this is important. A lot of services on here, they'll say that they'll do next day filing. It doesn't mean that they're doing expedited state filing. All right. Each state typically allows you to pay an extra amount to the state for expedited state filing, because a lot of times they may be backed up 2-3 weeks depending on when you're setting up your LLC. One of the things about Bizee is they do charge the $50 for the next day filing, but they will actually, they don't charge you on their end for expedited state filing fees. So they will handle that for you on your end. Business contract templates, you can see that that's one of the places that I think Bizee's a little bit weaker. They charge $150, where this is kind of free with LegalZoom, and $99 for Zen Business. But I want to make mention of business contract templates because if you're new to setting up a business, make sure you have good contracts. That could be with your employees, that could be with vendors, clients, whoever it may be. I've heard too many times new business owners not having a contract and then not getting paid because there's really no paper trail that you did the work for whoever it is that you did that work for, right? And I know that stinks to think about that, but some people unfortunately will try to take advantage if they see that you don't have a contract. So now that we have covered those items there on the LLC cost calculator, and again, I highly recommend you go here and just select your state of formation so you can see what the costs are to you. I'd like to go into a little bit of what I talked about earlier as far as tax savings. Now, an LLC is a pass-through entity. It is a flow-through taxation, pass-through taxation. What that means is at the end of the year, you're still just gonna have your personal tax return, and the money generated inside of the LLC, your limited liability company, is just gonna flow through to your personal tax return. But what you can do is you can reclassify it as an S corporation. And the reason that you would do that, and this is really important and maybe doesn't apply to you today, but I want to essentially plant a seed for you down the line. If your business starts to make around $50,000 of net income, that is when you'll want to reclassify the LLC. Really easy to do. You just have to file a form with the IRS. And that is why people love the LLC, is it's very malleable. You can change it and adapt it. But that'll allow you then to set up an S corporation. And the reason people do that is you're actually taxed less on dividends and distributions. So typically what will happen in that situation is you have to get set up with payroll, but the money that you pay yourself on payroll is going to be paid 100% of the taxes. So I believe it's 15.3% on self-employment taxes, is like FICA, FUTA taxes. But when you pay yourself a distribution, so let's say you pay yourself like $40,000, $50,000 salary, but then you have $30,000 left over and you pay yourself a distribution from the S corporation, that does not have that 15.3% of self-employment taxes on that portion of the payment. So if you paid yourself $30,000, you just saved over $4,500 in taxes. by having an S Corp set up. And again, I'm just mentioning this because it may not be applicable today, but I want you to be aware of this in the future, that you may want to take advantage of these things that the LLC affords you. Other reasons that I really like Bizee is I've found that they have the most secure login. They actually do one-time passwords that they can text or email you, which is more secure than remembering a login information because that can be compromised easily. And also they have one of the cleanest looking dashboards that you can see on the screen right now. Now in the next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through that dashboard, show you all the different options on there and what it looks like to actually set up your LLC and manage it inside of your Bizee dashboard. All right, I'll catch you in that next video. And again, thank you for using our links in the description below, and make sure that you check out the LLC cost calculator to find out what the fees are in your state. I'll catch you in the next video.